Well, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening once again, everyone, and welcome back to day two of Forerunner Global. It's wonderful to see many of you joining us again from around the world. Again, I'm Dr. Rudy Altamirano. I'm the Executive Director of ISSS, or as we know, International Student and Scholar Services, as well as Executive Director of Immigration Services and Integration Programs. So yesterday we focused on preparing you for your arrival at Penn, and we covered immigration, important documents, navigating Penn resources, health and wellness, housing, safety, and many of the practical aspects of beginning your journey in the United States. But before we do that, I think I would like to know, and we would like to know the panel, the faculty panel, especially who have joined us, where you are from, and maybe just we can see it in the chat, put it in the chat, and put your country as well, whether you're an undergraduate or a graduate students. Okay, put it in the chat. Are you a grad, undergrad? Uh, so. Start putting your country. So we have one grad student from Russia. We have MBA traveling from Colombia, India, grad student. We have a parent from Malaysia, wonderful Mexico, Argentina, grad student from. So you can see Betsy, Boone, and Phil that they are coming from all over the world. Graduates and undergrad, Europe, Asia, Africa. We have parents also in the room. And so one thing, parents, is that I'm glad you are joining us here because we are um, excited to have you partake and engage with us. So today, next slide, right, before we do that, we did a recap. We talked about that yesterday. I hope you joined us yesterday. I told you about we've covered very important topics. Immigration, which is very, very relevant in the landscape right now. You have to learn all of this. And if you did not attend yesterday, I encourage you to look at our recording. It's already in our YouTube channel. And we also talk about navigating Penn resources. So we try to cover both the two pillars that I talked to you about, the immigration, which is very important. This is very, very, very relevant to you as an international student. And we will partner with you to make sure that you are in lawful immigration status. But at the same time, we cannot forget that you need support in terms of being uh, successful in the University of Pennsylvania. So today we are taking the next step, and that's rather than talking about getting to Penn, we're going to talk about what it's like to learn at Penn. And there is no better way to do that than by hearing directly from Penn faculty who teach, mentor, advise, and inspire students every day, and also later in the program from students, current students who live life, the life of the international student at Penn. But before we do that, I would like to, yesterday, you saw the video created by our office 10 years ago, and now, 10 years later, we have the new video for this year, we are Penn Beyond Borders. And I take pride because 10 years ago, it was my oldest daughter who was in that video. And then 10 years later, it's my youngest daughter who is part of this video. So it runs in the family. But let's take it away, Mike, and let's play the video, the 2026 new version.
Lasst uns alle zusammenkommen.
過得咪是一隻腳步。
齊心高唱遍校園，愛到付出壓力了。
Harvard tem seu vermelho.
Querer o retorno.
पर पेंसिल्वेनिया के लिए आपका तो आखिर
تحيا تحيا بنسلفانيا أبوها ساب الله أكبر يسوس يسوس
That's wonderful. It's nice to see students coming and going. And it's fascinating that we are very proud to be part of a global university like Penn. So I'm truly delighted to introduce three outstanding members of our Penn faculty. Okay. And they represent three different schools, three different disciplines, and together they bring decades of experience working with students from every corner of the globe. And these are great colleagues of mine because they're not just ordinary faculty. These three individuals are very international centered faculty. They love international students. They live and breathe and, every day for international students. Very true advocates. So I'll do this in alphabetical order. I'll introduce them in alphabetical order. Okay, the last name. So that I will not be mentioned that I have favoritisms in alphabetical order. Let's start with Dr. Buntao Lu, the one on the left. He is from the School of Engineering and Applied Sciences. Dr. Lu is the RCA Professor of Computer and Information Science and served as the Senior Associate Dean for Education and Global Initiatives at Penn Engineering. His research focuses on distributed systems, cybersecurity, and artificial intelligence, and he has received numerous teaching awards, including Penn's Lindback Award and the International Student Advocate of the Year Award. And he's deeply involved in graduate education and has helped expand Penn Engineering's global educational initiatives. Dr. Philip Nichols, the one in the middle, joining us is from the Wharton School. Dr. Nichols is the Joseph Kolodny Professor of Social Responsibility in Business and Professor of Legal and Studies and Business Ethics. His scholarship focuses on international law, business ethics, corruption, and global commerce. He has earned numerous teaching awards, including Wharton's highest teaching honor, and also serves as faculty director of Stauffer College House, where he mentors students outside the classroom as well. Last but not the least, and representing the Graduate School of Education is Dr. Betsy Rhymes. Dr. Rhymes is Professor of Education and Chair of Educational Linguistics. Her work focuses on multilingualism, intercultural communication, classroom discourse, and language learning. Before joining Penn, she taught English language learners, and today her research explores how language and culture shape learning in diverse educational settings and making her especially well suited to speak with our international students today. So please join me, virtually clap in giving our panelists a warm virtual welcome. Okay, so let's turn the camera on. And so I know that bio, I have been using that, but I'm sure knowing this highly accomplished faculty, I'm sure the bio has really changed so much in the last several weeks, even several months. So to begin, could each of you briefly introduce yourselves? Because I think it's better for you to introduce who you are and get to know the person behind the name, your school, your teaching and research interests, how long you've been here at Penn, and perhaps one thing you enjoy most about teaching Penn students, and maybe specifically Penn internationals. Okay, who wants to start?
All right, so let me start first, alphabetical order.
Yes,
So
thank you, Boone.
thank you, Rudy, for the warm introduction. And start off by saying the engineering school greatly values our partnership with Penn ISSS.
We have a lot of international students, and that's something we pride ourselves on. Um, about myself, I was originally born in Malaysia, grew up in Singapore, and came to the US to study as an international student, both undergrad, stayed on for my master's and PhD. Um, Initially didn't expect to stay that long in the US, but one thing led to another. So I've been at Penn almost 20 years, and right now I oversee all our master's and PhD programs and also our global initiatives. And I love teaching, and I also have quite a few PhD students, and I view this through the lens of amplification. Whatever we teach students, they go on and excel in whatever discipline all around the world. And I think we need this more than ever, right? To solve global challenges, we really need to be united and bring everybody together. And what's a better place to do this than in higher ed?
Thank you, Dr. Boone. Okay, Phil, why don't you follow according to the one I when I introduced the three of you? Go for it.
Thank you, Rudy. Um, Buenos dias, Dobrian, for the Mongolian member of our community, Samba no, and every other language possible. I'm a professor in the Wharton School at the University of Pennsylvania. My research focuses on what's going on in emerging economies. Unfortunately, I spend a lot of time also working on corruption. My life has taken me to more than 130 countries. And so I deeply feel that at home at Penn, because it is such an international place. Um, I cannot thank each of you enough for coming to Penn because the perspective that you bring makes our university what it is.
Thank you, Phil. Okay, Betsy, go for it. No.
Yeah, hi everybody. Thank you for including me on this panel, and congrats on everybody for um, who's in the viewing group who has been admitted to Penn and is about to embark on your journey here. It's a great place. I've worked here for 20 years now. Before that, I was a professor at the University of Georgia, and coming to Penn was really my dream job. So um, I can speak honestly and say that it still is my dream job. I feel like part of this is my colleagues, and part of it, I mean, a huge part of it is the students. I would say one thing I love about Penn students is they're pretty much up for anything. They're ready to try anything, and they'll put as much effort as they can into it. So it's always, I feel like I'm always challenged to present new and interesting stuff to students. As Rudy said, my main sort of research and intellectual focus is on like the role of multilingualism in schools and also in society. So a lot of my classes involve having students get out into Philadelphia and explore the role of language and multilingualism in this context too. And it's always changing. That's another great thing about language and multilingualism is that each year there's something new. So and it's a blast to explore that with my students. Um, and I guess the courses I teach are mostly about sociolinguistics, and I'm the director of a master's program called Language, Globalization, and Intercultural Studies. Um, and we also, in my division, we also have a program called TESOL, Teaching English to Speakers of Other Languages. So you can tell, like, I spend most of my life thinking about multilingualism in education and a lot of time with international students. So um, looking forward to meeting some of you soon.
Thank you so much, my dear colleagues. Before I continue, I want to acknowledge the presence of my colleagues in the Zoom chat in this room. I want to thank Mike Kelty, who is our wonderfully competent IT person, marketing communication manager, who has been amazing. this past few weeks, past few months. Kelly Ma, who is our programs manager, who's also GSE grad, okay, Betsy. She is also helping with the integration with Yu Hong. And of course, we have three advisors in the call who, if you have questions, please put them in the chat. Dr. Mara Flam, Marilena Dracu, and Neve Lotti. So they are in the room, engage with them and ask questions based on what you're hearing right now. So, well, I'll divide this panel into panel moderation into three sections. And one section, the first section is introduction and the big picture. And the theme is cultural adjustment. So, Betsy, you get the first question here, and I'll follow up with someone. I think that you have known me moderating this, so you don't know which question I will ask.
Hmm.
But Betsy, my question to you is international students often experience both academic and cultural adjustments when they arrive at Penn. And
Hmm.
from your perspective, what are some of the most common challenges you see, and what resources would you encourage students to take advantage of?
Um, yeah, yeah. I think one of the biggest challenges and maybe big surprises is something that has to do with language. People might be really well prepared in terms of their English language um, education, but kind of shocked to realize that they the language, the English that they hear in class and around Philadelphia is not quite like what they've learned. um, so the effect of context on language is so important. Um, so I feel like sometimes, despite being super well educated, great at English, there's still a language barrier that affects their
Mhm.
learning in classrooms and their ability to socialize with other people. And
Mhm.
I feel like the only way you can overcome that is to just immerse yourself
Mhm.
and to not worry about making mistakes, to
Mhm.
not worry about misspeaking.
Mhm.
Like nobody cares, but
Mhm.
you've got to just get involved and
Mhm.
interact with people. That's the only way you'll ever sort of learn how language is functioning in the different contexts that you really want to be a part of. Like the reason you're in the United States is to experience this context. So go for it.
I like that, Betsy. I think take the step. Don't be afraid of making mistakes. I
Mhm.
remember
Yeah.
that as a former international student. I know I have an accent, very strong accent, and I'm very self-conscious when I'm in classes. So what I do is I go to the front of the room, only me in the first row, because that helped me navigate my awkwardness, my being self-conscious. And so that really, you just have to just do it, take the risk. Everyone has accents. Everyone has, is learning a language. If they go to another country and they speak English here, but they have to go to China, for example, they will encounter the same challenge. We're always in the same room. So Boone, this is for you as a follow-up. As Senior Associate Dean, working with many international students across Penn Engineering, what have you observed?
Um, so I think one of the most uh, I mean, in terms of adjustments of international students, I would say that one of the biggest adjustment, at least in the classroom setting, is that in the US, the system is much more based on continuous assessment rather than one exam or one project at the end. And class participation is a big component of several classes. And
Mm,
I think having the kind of speaking up in class, I used to be really quiet in class too when I first came. I thought if you just do well in exam, life would be good. But then it took a while to break out of that shell. Um, I think the one thing that it took me some time to appreciate, but now I very much do, is the US is really the land of the free, right? People
Mm-hmm.
can voice their opinion. There's a lot of diversity of cultures, of thinking, of opinion, and public discourse is very healthy here. And every one of us at some point here is an immigrant to this country at some level, um, and went through this cultural immersion and adjustment. Um, um, yeah, and sometimes I could tell like a student that just came, and then I meet that person maybe 10 years after, 15 years after they graduate at some alumni event, and I could really see how they have grown and matured
Mm-hmm.
over the years. Um, but at the beginning, there's certainly a lot of things to it could be a little bit overwhelming. I remember when I first came, there was a question about setting up bank account, and I just remember that moment for me. I'm sure everybody, international student, can remember the moment when they do that. And there's all a lot of little things you have to learn along the way about the tax system and
Mm-hmm.
all that,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
that's could be overwhelming for a new student. But it's like a path that all of us go through,
Mm-hmm.
and coming out at the other end, you feel stronger, more independent, and yeah, yeah. I guess that's kind of my observation.
That's a very good point, Boone. We are all on the same boat, trying to survive and adjust. However, as you know, we have many resources. Your school would be a great resource. ISS has that's why I created the integration pillar. We are here to support you to make you feel welcome and to have a sense of belonging. We care for you. We are committed to your success. And we also form one of them you will meet later from engineering, who is heading the mentor group, Penn Mentoring for Penn ISSS. We have about 200 plus who applied for mentoring, and we have about 100 plus mentors from our students who are also mentoring. So that's another way you will learn through the students. So now, Phil, this is for you. Many international students may come from educational systems where professors are viewed very differently. What are some common misconceptions international students have about US faculty? And what advice would you offer for building strong relationships with professors?
Um, I did part of my graduate education in Germany, and my professor would walk into the room, open a book, read from the book, walk out, and we would see him a week later when he did the same.
Mm,
Here, professors are meant to be part of your daily life and part of the community in which you exist. Some students, not just foreign students, students from abroad, students from outside, some students uh, resist that, and some students come from places, even in the United States, where they think of the faculty as other and distant. Um, and that's not meant to be what happens here. The best advice I can give with respect to that, well, there's two things you can do. One is the most amazing thing you can do is go to office hours. Every faculty runs their office hours differently, and they all assume that everyone else runs their office hours the way they run them. So they generally don't tell you how they run their office hours. But don't, as Boone just said, don't be afraid of making mistakes. Go to the office hours, meet the professor, talk to them one on one, and you've got a guaranteed recommendation coming for you later when you apply to different kinds of schools or awards or fellowships. The other piece of advice I can give is ask a question in class. And as has been said, it can be really scary the first time you do it, like really scary. But once you get over that hump, it's so much easier to ask the second question and then to ask the third question. And after that, you might find it easier to participate in ways that are expected in a lot of classes here at Penn. So form that relationship, and then utilize it for years to come. It's what Penn is supposed to be like, and we're all here for you.
Thank you, Phil. Yeah, you're right. Again, same theme here. Don't be afraid to speak up. Don't be afraid to be the first person to ask that question. And don't be so self-conscious about whether you know English or not. I think people have to remember that we're all trying. It's a global university, so that's fascinating. So, Betsy, I'm curious whether you've seen similar experiences, particularly with multilingual students. So go for it.
Oh, yeah, I think I mean similar experience in terms of what adjustment
Adjustment,
and
working
I
with faculty, especially working with faculty. They're very scared because they don't know the language, that the faculty might not understand them. They cannot
yeah
build relationship with professors because their English is not good. They don't know the language well, English, so that kind of thing.
yeah. I second everything that Phil just said. I would add that go to office hours with a real question. Be curious. Uh, don't just go to office hours and like sit there. And also, don't just go to office hours when you need a favor, like when you want to get a letter of recommendation. You need to like build a real relationship with your professor. And I think that um, professors are most excited to talk about like the things that they're interested in, the class that you're taking. So when you go to office hours, maybe, and this will help with your nervousness maybe too, like think of a couple real questions you want to ask about the material you've been learning about, and maybe some connections that you make to your life. I think this is another thing that I think most professors really like is seeing the kind of unique connections students make to the material they're learning about in class and their own like circumstances or their own goals and dreams, like what they want to get out of the class. So I would say be reflective about what you're learning in class, and on the basis of those reflections, go to office hours and ask some questions. You'll have like a really interesting conversation.
Thank you so much. So let's delve into the inside the pen classroom, which is another area of theme here from the first theme. So Betsy, since I can see you on the screen. Speaking up in class can be intimidating for students from different countries and educational backgrounds.
Mhm.
And what advice would you give to help students become comfortable participating in discussions and asking questions?
Mm, yeah.
GSC, you have to be doing this. You have to become comfortable participating in discussions, very, student centered. So talk about it.
Yes, it's definitely true. And honestly, in my class, I'm not going to be throwing out like um, you know, cold calling on people or expecting people out of the blue to be asking questions. Usually, I mean, and you'll experience this in probably most of your classes, students will have an opportunity to like problem solve in small groups before I ask a question of the class in general, or um, while they're problem solving in small groups, they may develop questions that they want to ask when we come back together as a big group. So I would say there's a lot of scaffolding there for you that you can take advantage of. So when you are in a small group in a class, I know it can be like daunting when the professor says, the professor's talking and you're listening, you're taking it in, and then suddenly the professor says like, now you're going to be working on this in your small group. And then you're like, oh no, I have to like talk to these four people face to face when I was just happy to be in quiet learning mode. But that is a moment that you um, have to fully engage in. So that's a place where you'll realize one of the greatest resources you have at Penn is like your peers. So when you're in those small groups, talk to your peers. Don't look at your computer and try and find the answer there. Don't look at the material that you read for class, even. Talk to your peers about what you're learning. This is like the 2 hours you'll have that week to actually look at your peers and have a conversation with them about the material specifically. So from those conversations, you'll start developing a fluency with thinking about the ideas in the class. And then usually in my classes, somebody like we come back together as a group and each small group shares something that they've discussed or questions that have arisen. Be the person, be the spokesperson for your group. Don't let the one person who you think is the smartest one do it all the time. You're the
Mm,
smartest one, like step up. And I think that I can't remember what the question is, but I mean it's the main like theme that I hope you all get from what I'm talking about is you learn from talking to other people.
mhm,
So let yourself do that as much as possible.
mhm. I like that, Betsy. Because yes, these small groups are very daunting because you don't know these people, but this is also an opportunity as an added benefit that you can make friends. These will be your friends and they can be supportive of you, your network. So it's not just an academic experience, it's also a networking experience that you can benefit from this. So, Phil, this is for you. Participation is also an important, or not just, is a very important part of the Wharton experience.
Oh yeah.
So, what would you do? What would you add, to because Wharton, you have to be there. And sometimes it can be intimidating with both US students who are very vocal and very, wow, very impressive. And of course, not just US, but other countries can be very articulate,
Sure.
sharing their experience. So, how would you
Um,
what would you add to encourage our students not to be intimidated in a classroom participation?
the
Yeah.
the so I would preface it by saying that every class is different. Every single class is going to be run differently. And again, every instructor thinks that most classes are run kind of the way they run theirs. So they're not always going to tell you this is how this class is run. But everyone who's on this is smart, and you can watch and figure it out that this is kind of the flow of this particular class. It's really important for everyone to understand that, as has been alluded to, uh, you belong here as much as anyone else belongs here, and pretty much 90% of the people that you're interacting with are worried that they don't necessarily belong here. You are not alone in feeling that way if you feel that way. So, you know, um, y- your style of participating is different than someone else's style. That's cool. That's awesome. A lot of instructors have a lot of ways of catching participation. One thing that I would encourage you to do, and it's not always going to work because professors are as diverse as everyone else, but I would encourage you to talk with your professor about your style of participating. I've over my 35 years here at Penn, I've worked with hundreds and hundreds of students in office hours who come and say, I don't know how to participate. I'm scared of participating. I'm worried about participating. And we can generally figure something out that gets a person involved in the class in ways that are helpful for their peers, which is what a lot of class participation is about, and helpful for them, which is what a lot of class participation is about. So, A, don't worry. B, get over the hump. And C, talk to people, particularly the instructor in that particular class, about what's expected and how you can fulfill those expectations. We are not, again, we're not here to, it's not, class participation isn't some kind of way of weeding you out and punishing you or hurting you. It's meant to help you get along and learn. And that's, at the end of the day, that's the objective that everyone's trying to help you with.
I like that idea, Phil, that you learn through participation. And all of us, again, the theme resonating here is go out of your comfort zone, just do it. For me, as a shy international student 40 years ago, and now I'm so honored to be participating with three renowned faculty from the University of Pennsylvania. And that is, of course, it's easy to be intimidated with this amazing faculty, right? But this is my opportunity to interact with all human beings in the first place here, and we're just doing our best. So let's now transition to Dr. Buntao Lu. Dr. Lu, Buntao Lu. Bun, root work, of course, in your School of Engineering is a hallmark of the Penn experience. What strategies would you recommend? Because they're alluding, your colleagues have been alluding to this. What strategies would you recommend for working effectively and inclusively in diverse student teams?
Sure. So I think there's a couple of things to note here. So in engineering, many classes will have group projects, sometimes accumulating into a group project at the end, or as for undergrads in their senior year, they will have the 2 semester series where they have to work on senior design and build some, artifacts, software, hardware that they'll present towards the end. And a lot of interesting projects come out of that. For example, last year we had a team that used Apple Watch to detect tremors, and it's actually been used by the hospital for Parkinson early detection and so on. So a lot of very interesting work at the intersection of um, machine learning, computer science, medical devices, and so on. Um, Now, in terms of group work, I would say more than ever is the importance of soft skills and presentations. I particularly in
Mm-hmm.
the age of AI now. I'm a computer science faculty. Among us, we have had extensive discussion, and I think that you will see that in many of your classes at Penn that you'll be taking is a change of faculty assessment towards more group presentation, critical thinking. It's not enough just to get your software working, but you got to explain the how, the why, the design, more presentations, more in-person discussions with your TAs and your faculty. So more so than ever, even in a hard science discipline like engineering, the communication skills are becoming very important.
Mm.
The other advice I would give is many of you come from different countries, and you should definitely 100% lean on your close affinity group, right? So, for example, if you're a Chinese student, there would be like a Chinese Student Association and so on and so forth. I think that would be very helpful to get you, having a support system to get you familiarized with the US culture and so on and so forth. However, I would say that when you are in a group setting, if at all possible, um, try to learn to work with people from different countries and different cultures. So I remember as a international student, I came to US long time ago in the 90s, and at that time there were not as many people from my country. So when I came to US to study, I had no choice from day one but to partner with people from different countries. And I learned a lot of it. For example, in my freshman chemistry class, I had a lab partner who was African American. Another person was from Pakistan. My first computer science project partner, he was from Belarus, and he explained to me the difference between Belarus and Russia and how his parents came. I had another friend that I met in class. He was from Myanmar, and he taught me all about Aung San Suu Kyi, and so on. Like
Mm.
your life becomes enriched, right? It's not only what you learn in the classroom setting,
Mm.
learning to across cultures, different people approach problems differently, and really the diversity is a strength. So I would encourage you in whatever group classes setting you're in to try to step out of your comfort zone to work with different from people from different backgrounds.
I like that idea. I like the idea of Yeah, our tendency is to group ourselves with people from the same country or same geographical region. But I tell you, the richness of Penn, you have to capitalize and utilize that advantage. Penn is so global. You don't have to travel. You get them while walking on Mog's Walk or in a classroom. You don't have to buy a plane ticket to do that. That's a very good advice. So, Phil, participation is very important in the not participation. Teamwork is also essential in business education. So, how do you help students become effective collaborators? So that's the key question. How do you help students become effective collaborators? What are the key qualities of key effective collaborators?
Wow, a, a really interesting question, and I'm actually at a conference right now where that has come up an awful lot. And of course, we have a lot of studies from grad schools like grad ed, and then we have a lot of practical experience. So, great question. I would echo what Professor Buntalu has said. uh, you know, the more diverse your group, the more you're going to get out of it. Um, One of the things I've heard in the last few days is that students prefer groups that they select, but that doesn't always result in the best teaching outcome. Um, from the perspective of the students that I've taught, and especially the students that I've lived with for 25 years, um, the things that they talk about in terms of difficulties in student groups tend to be students who are uncommunicative
Hmm.
and hard to get a hold of, who don't interact well with the group because they just kind of glaze over and uh, uh, don't interact. Um, Again, every person in this group is different and interacts with people differently. But you do have a responsibility to communicate and to communicate honestly. A mistake that we all make when we're young, baby lawyers, baby financial analysts, baby doctors, everyone makes, is promising to do something that you don't know how to do and then waiting until the last minute to be forced into admission that you don't know how to do it. Communicate with your group. I don't know how to do this, or do you have any ideas, or etc. And your group will be better for that. So communicate, communicate, communicate. Don't shut yourself off. Don't think of it as something you're going to do remotely. If you can get together, you're going to be better off. And again, don't posture. Don't think that you're the only one who doesn't know what's going on. If you're the first person who breaks that down and says, I don't know, you're going to find that half the rest of the group is going to go, me either. And then you'll all work together to figure it out, which is a cool experience.
That's a very good advice. Communicate, communicate, communicate. I think communication. I We have a program at Penn in my office that I created 15 years ago, what we call I communicate. Small I, but communicate is capital. And we are teaching, if you want, when you come to Penn, please attend our Join our Intercultural Leadership Program. Join the I Communicate because that is, we teach you how to be effective communicators. And so this is fascinating. So let's shift to a very relevant topic now. So Dr. Lu Bun, artificial intelligence is rapidly transforming higher education. Okay. So how is AI being approached in your classrooms in engineering? And what guidelines would you offer students in using AI responsibly and ethically?
Sure. So I think in the engineering school, you can largely uh, look kind of divide our strategy into two approaches. I'll talk about the first one, which is the change of assessments, and then I'll talk about the second one, which is curriculum innovation. On the change of assessments, I think if you look at the last 10, 20 years, most engineering discipline, particularly in computer science where there's large classes, there was a shift towards auto grading, writing software that would then be automatically evaluated, and that constitute, I think, a huge part of the student kind of assessments along the way. Um, and I think one of the shift we're seeing in the engineering school is two things. Number one, a refocus more on proctored examinations that can really test the student in a more kind of proctored kind of setting. And the second one is reducing the assessments weightage on kind of auto-graded assignments, but instead replacing that with much more design thinking kind of questions. So, as an example, in the algorithms class, in the past, maybe you would solve your algorithms problems, maybe code it up, write down the proofs, submit, the TAs will grade. Increasingly, we are moving towards a model where, in addition to that, the students will have to um, also meet the TAs to explain their solutions.
Mm,
And sometimes there's not even a correct solution, but rather, why did you approach it this way? Is there a better approach? And I think in many ways, it helps students become much better communicators as an
mhm,
engineer. So that's on the
mm,
assessment side. Now, on the curriculum innovation side, I think we all recognize, and I think this is true across campus, the need for AI literacy across the whole campus. And I think us as a university went through different phases of that, right? It was data science for all, computing for all, and I think now the need to have AI literacy for all is becoming more and more important. And also in my travels and with talking to alums, and also the same for some of my colleagues, we now um, recognize that um, AI is a very powerful amplification tool once you have the foundational skills. And so in some of our classes, we are actively integrating AI into the education. So, for
mm,
example, in the traditional software engineering class, students will write software. So this fall, the computer science department is piloting a new class on agent-based programming. So we're
mm.
actually going to get students to use Claude Code and all the latest AI-assisted coding tools in a classroom setting, and giving you interesting projects. So, for example, we could give you a buggy version of a software that looks like Google Calendar, and now we say, okay, this is a really messy software. And we're going to teach you and train you how you could use AI not just to generate code, but also to refactor and so on. And this is a difficult skill because as we learn more and more, AI is a double-edged sword, right? So yes, you
Mhm.
can write a lot of code and produce a lot of things quickly, but there's also a lot of hallucination, a lot of code bloating, and peer review of coding becomes an impossible task now, right? So I think learning the right
Fascinating.
practices is super important. And I can go on and on. I think the engineering school is really at the forefront. We are one of the first to introduce the new AI undergrad major, the first to introduce the AI master's program, and we are always at the cutting edge, trying to respond quickly to new trends in AI.
That's why I asked that question. It's a good timing and very relevant. So, by the way, before I continue, I'm encouraging students. I know we cannot enable your microphone, but if you don't mind, put your questions for our faculty on the chat, and I will ask my colleagues to read it aloud so that we will allow for Q&A. I know it was not planned, and my ISS colleagues will be having a panic heart attack. Like, why are you adding that component? But so Marilena and Neve, and of course Amara, and also Kelly, start looking at those chats, and we will do it for the rest of the morning today. I want to know and get questions, and I will call on you. You can tell me if you have raised your hand, and definitely we will call on you and read the question from the students. So Phil and I'll both ask Phil and Betsy about what Boone just talked about. So Phil and Betsy, we'll start with Phil because of his work also in ethics. From the standpoint of ethics and professional responsibility, how do you think students should approach AI in Wharton? And also, Betsy, now that Boone has talked about that in engineering, how do you think students should approach AI in GSE? So, Phil, go for it with your standpoint of ethics and professional responsibility.
Oh, well, the ethics of AI is something that Wharton has classes on to complement what's going on from behind in engineering. But the 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 college, I happen to sit on a couple of committees at the university level trying to deal with this. And the message I would suggest is that instructors are still figuring out how to fit this into their classes. Um, and from a student perspective, it's very tempting to use AI. Well, to use AI is a bucket term for a lot of things, but to use these tools as shortcuts.
Mm,
If an instructor is asking you not to use artificial intelligence or any of these tools, there's usually sometimes there's not, but usually there's a pedagogical reason for them to ask you not to use these tools. They've got something in mind that is not accomplished if you use these tools. Hopefully, faculty are going to incorporate um, like Claude for coding. The equivalent in law would be agentic AI for contract development, stuff like that. Hopefully, we're moving in that direction. But please understand when faculty ask you not to use AI, that there's something going, they want you to learn something before you go to
mm,
those kinds of cognitive tools.
thank you. Betsy, how about from the perspective of GSE?
Oh, yeah. Thanks. Also, this gives me a chance to just piggyback on the collaboration discussion because I feel like this will connect to AI. But in collaboration with other people, one of the great things about it is that, like Phil was talking about how, oh, you don't want to like pretend you have some expertise that you don't actually have and then at the last minute have to admit it. But on the flip side of that is that everybody in a group has different types of expertise. And so when you're in a small group, the pedagogical purpose of that is not just to be in a small group, it's to actually learn what type of expertise is already in the room. And as Boone was talking about, when he first came to the United States, he had somebody from uh, Belarus, he met somebody from Pakistan, someone from, I can't remember, but each of those persons has a set of expertise that can contribute to whatever you're working on. And this is especially true in education, that so a lot of the expertise that these people have is not predictable or standardizable, but it can be really useful in a small group. Like, and when you're putting all those things together, there are two really great things about it. Well, one is when you're in a really great group, when you're taking advantage of each other's different types of expertise, it doesn't feel like work. That's like the greatest type of collaboration when it doesn't feel like you're working, you're actually everybody's bringing the thing that they know how to do and seeing what kind of comes out of it. And that is like a magical experience. And if you're using AI in that setting, you're not getting that. You're missing out on it. Like on all the other things we talked about for the first half an hour of this discussion, you miss out on it. So you might be hearing my cat meowing right now, but in the background. But so I would say in in my classes at least, as Phil has pointed out, everybody's class is different. I've tried to the benefit of AI is that it's made me redesign my assessments completely so that you would not be able to use AI to do them. You have to go out into the world, learn something about the world, engage with somebody, and report back about that. You can't
Mm,
do it using AI. And
mhm, mhm,
if you do, it would be like, I don't know, a crime against humanity. So,
mm,
so like, the I feel like another really important thing that needs to be said about what your stance, what in general my stance is about AI is that um, you're coming to Penn to learn, to develop intellectually, and ideally to launch a really great career. And if you want to have a rich and satisfying career that can't be replaced by AI, you need to learn to use your mind. You need to believe in your mind, and you need to develop the kind of social and emotional skills uh, to to engage with other people in the world. Then I can guarantee you'll have a rich and satisfying life and career. So, and then AI is like an extra, like Boone was saying. I liked that term. I don't know what it was, like AI amplification. But you've got to have something to amplify, right? So that's what you get when you're like participating AI free in the kind of human learning we've been talking about.
Thank you, everyone, for that. So I have one question. And then I know, Marilena, you've been very patient. I know maybe there's a question from a student, but let me ask our faculty this question quickly, if you don't mind, because I want to open so that you can engage with our students who are in the webinar today. So I'd like to end with one final question for each of you. So looking back over the many students you have taught throughout your careers, what qualities, attitudes, or habits distinguish students who truly flourish at Penn? Okay. I changed my question from last year. Instead of saying, what is a great Penn student? I want to expand more to that. So go for it. Who wants to start? Just say,
I'll
just
go.
go for it,
Um,
Betsy.
I
Yeah.
feel like social intelligence is really important. Curiosity, not being afraid to try new things. I think those are all important
I
things.
like those. Social intelligence. I like that because instead of artificial intelligence, we're talking about social intelligence. That's a very good one. And curiosity. Curiosity. Be curious. That's a pen quality here. Okay, how about you, Boone? And we'll end with Phil. Boone, go for it.
I think somebody who takes initiative and be proactive rather
Mm,
than wait for things to happen.
Take initiative. Yeah, don't wait. That's very Penn. Don't wait for something to drop from the apple tree. Take the initiative. Yeah, I like that also. And Dr. Nichols, why don't you give your best rendition?
The students who I find that flourish, particularly after leaving Penn, are students who do not think of education as something to check off
Mm-hmm.
in their march towards whatever, but instead spend their time at Penn learning and actually learning rather than
Mm.
just checking a box. Learning from them,
Learn.
learning from each other.
Yeah, very good. The learning, of course, we're here for learning, and that can take so many shapes and forms. What is learning involved? Okay, Marilena. Marilena, introduce who you are. If you can turn on your camera, that would be great. Introduce yourself because some of our faculty members may not know who you are. She's one of our newest advisors. So, Marilena, go for it.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. It's my pleasure to introduce myself in front of our panelists here, the
And the
wonderful group,
students, also the
and the
students.
students,
Yeah, and
absolutely. And I would
parents. We have
say
parents also.
Kalimera to everybody that listening from Greece, maybe, because that's where
We
I'm
have
coming from.
we have parents also, Marilena. We have parents. Okay, go for
Yes,
it.
and parents, of course. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Penn. I'm one of the ICSS advisors here at Penn. It's been an 1 year anniversary almost now in August. So I'm privileged to serve F1 and J1 students. I've been a DSO and ARO since 2007, so it's not my first time advising students, but it's been so nice to welcome you all here. And as here, going to a question that I got from a student, I believe maybe Dr. Lukin referred to that. Could you talk a bit about the changes made to the MCIT dual degree option and how it may have changed in context of AI?
Cool.
Very good question, Marilena. Thank you.
Of course, thank you again.
Yeah, I'll make this real quick in the interest of time. I think the um, um, yeah, AI has definitely, I would say the changes we're making to curriculum um, touches upon MCIT, but also all the other degree programs at Penn Engineering. Um, Now, there was another question on dual degree. I would say best for you to reach out to us directly. With the engineering school, we have the Office of Academic Services, or you can reach out to the MCIT Program Director, Arvin Brusmona, and we're happy to walk you through, and this applies to any student on the call, questions related to degree options.
Thank you so much, Boone. Thank you so much. Any other questions from other members of the ISS team that you're seeing in the chat? Anyone else? Okay. Well, with that, I would like to thank our wonderful esteemed faculty, Dr. Buntao Lu, Dr. Phil Nichols, and Dr. Betsy Rhymes. Year in, year in, year out, you've been espoused and wonderful advocates and supporters of ISSS, and having your presence again this year makes a lot of difference to our new international students and of course the parents. And so we are very excited. I'm sure the three faculty members are so excited to see you in person. We are together in this. I hope you get your visa soon and be able to navigate your travels wonderfully, safe travels, because we'll see you in August and see these faculty members. Thank you, Boone. Thank you, Phil. And thank you, Betsy. We will now transition to the student panel. Now you will hear directly from the mouths of our students, and we'll do the same thing. We'll open the floor to questions later, because these are the people who knows what you will be going through in the next 2 years, 1 year, 4 years. Okay, so these are our students, and I would like them, maybe I think it's better I have that my introduction, but I would have them introduce themselves. So, but I will give a preamble and I'll call that student first. Ali Saber, very close, a wonderful Penn scholars, an alum. He just graduated from Penn this May. He won the Penn Global Student Citizenship Award, an award that we give to international students graduating. And so, Ali, tell us who you are, introduce yourselves to our new incoming students, and we have parents also in the room. So, yeah, go for
Hi
it.
everyone. My name is Ali. I'm from Iraq. I majored in biochemistry and chemistry and minored in modern Middle Eastern studies. And yes, I did graduate recently. And I was working with the ISSS through Penn World Scholars Program. And I'd like to congratulate everyone in this panel for being part of the Penn community.
Thank you, Ali. And of course, we have Denise Guler from Turkey. I will not, I know you're also a Penn Scholar. You're a current student. You'll be a sophomore, right? Is that right, Denise? You'll be sophomore in
Yes,
fall.
that's right.
Go for it.
Hi,
Turn on,
everyone.
yeah, turn on your camera. Yeah, go for it. Turn your camera and introduce who you are. Yeah.
Hi, everyone. I'm Denise. I'm from Istanbul, Turkey, and I'm a rising sophomore studying bioengineering with a minor in computer science. Congratulations to you all.
Wonderful. And of course, another person who just graduated last May, also a graduate student from, I will not mention her background because and she also was honorable mention for the Penn Global Student Citizenship Award for graduate student category. So Noreen, go for it. Noreen, we cannot hear you. I think you're muted.
Sorry. Hello, everyone, and hello, Dr. Rudy. Good to see you all.
It's nice to see you again, Noreen.
Thank you so much. So this is Noreen Yasmin. I'm from Dhaka, Bangladesh. I have been recently graduated from Graduate School of Education, and my major is in quantitative methods. And currently, I'm working with a research lab in Wharton as data analyst. And I'm still in Penn, I would say. And I have been very lucky to have the opportunity to work with ISSS when I was a student here at Penn. And it has been amazing opportunity of learning and to work with students' body. And welcome to you all. And congratulations. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Noreen. I think Srey Patel, is Srey here? I think he's running late, coming from another engagement, but he will join us later. Srey Patel is an international student from India who is a PhD candidate in chemical and biomedical engineering. So let me know, Kelly, when Srey shows up. So thank you again for our, outstanding faculty for sharing their wisdom and insights. And now we are hearing from another group of experts, our students. So the one important thing about this panel is that not too long ago, these students were sitting exactly where you are today. And they were preparing for their journeys in Penn, wondering what to expect, thinking about housing, academics, friendships, and whether they find a place in a new country. Today, they were here to share their stories, the challenges they face, what surprised them, what helped them succeed, and what they wish they had known before arriving. Okay? So with that, I will start with alphabetically. Ali, you're still around. So this is nice to have Noreen and Ali, even though they graduated. Oh, we can call them to join us for any of these wonderful opportunities. So Ali, this is for you, okay? Penn is known for being academically rigorous, okay? How did you adjust to the academic workload and what helped you succeed? And to be, Ali didn't talk about this, but Ali graduated from one of the most competitive program at Penn, academic program, the Vadulous moleculars, and cell biology, Vadulous. Maybe you can talk about Vadulous and how rigorous Vadulous is. So why don't you speak to that, Ali?
Sure. Yeah, so basically I did the MLS program, the Vadulous Molecular Life Sciences program. It is kind of tough, especially in the first couple of years. So it was very important for me to find my own communities on campus or finding things that I love to do that help keep my mind off of academics, especially during the weekends. I always made sure that I had at least one full day of not doing any academic related work. In that full day, I would either go and explore areas in Philadelphia, go to South Philly, Italian market, or engage in some club activities, or just simply just go to the dining halls and sit down with my friends and just like talk over lunch or dinner. It's important to
So,
find like those outlets away from academics.
so you explore Philadelphia. Is there any place in Philadelphia that you like the most that you will recommend to our students? Your
Yes.
resting place, your comfort area, comfort place. Go for it.
Yeah, I personally really love the Italian market, especially on the weekends because it gets very like busy and lively. It reminds me of the bazaars we have back home. So, especially during the freshman year, like almost every weekend, I just used to walk all the way from campus there. And one thing I like to do is to take photographs and photography. And a very nice resource we have at Penn is you can rent out really good cameras from the library. So it really helped me kind of like also explore my photography skills, take my mind off from like academics, and also see nice places in Philadelphia, go around, explore, take photos, and basically build a portfolio for my own for photography. It was very, very nice.
So you dabbled in photography, which is amazing. I think that is very, very important to know a hobby. And I've seen that when you graduated, you presented on your photography. You can have an exhibit on that, Ali. I hope you visit me soon. Because are you working now, Ali? Where are you working?
Yes, I'm working at Penn. I'm doing research in a lab.
Oh, good. So you're doing your OPT there?
Yep, correct.
Wonderful. I heard that Srey is here. So Srey, why don't you introduce yourself first, and then I will ask you a question.
Yeah,
Introduce
sure.
who you are, tell us something about yourself, where you're from, what are you majoring in? Go for it.
So yeah, hi, I'm Shrey. I'm currently doing my PhD in chemical engineering at Penn. I grew up in India and I got to spend some time in Canada and Germany before I came to Penn. And right now I'm in Vienna doing an internship, so also in a very different time zone than
What time
current.
is it in Vienna, Srey?
It's 4 p.m., so almost end of the workday.
Yeah, we have some students from Europe in this webinar, so you're in the same time zone. Some of
Nice.
them
Yeah.
are in Europe, so Western Europe. So you're all in the same time zone. So Srey, as a PhD student, a follow-up to my question to Ali, we're talking about, I asked Ali about adjustment, that academically rigorous Penn University, right? And I asked about adjusting to that. And you
Mhm.
are a PhD student, not just a PhD student. You are in a very tough major. Uh, I'm sure the workload looks very different. How has your experience been in terms of managing workload, dealing, navigating a very complicated and difficult PhD career? It's a career. And also navigating a very, very high level major engineering. Go for it.
So I think I mean, this would be very similar experience for everyone. Like the workload shifts a lot depending on how long have you been at Penn, and I think the way you deal with it also, you learn how to be more efficient with your time. Most students when they first come to US, like along like me as well, when I first came, it took me at least 2 to 3 months to just get adjusted to everything here, and that might take some time off and some energy off from your real work you're here as a student or as a researcher, but it gets better with time. I made friends. Those communities really help because now you have a place outside of work and study where you can have fun, share your life experiences with people. So once you have those communities built up, I think it's easier to manage workload because everybody has their own set of challenges, and it's easier when you know that everybody's in the same boat, struggling with their work management. Because there's a lot, Penn has a lot to offer, and you can't be good at everything. You have to make a decision. For PhD specific, I think in the first few years you take courses. So that was a bit, it has a good side that I had a routine. Like I knew this day of the week I have these classes, and that's how I could plan my day. So I liked that monotonous structure for a bit, but then you know that you are managing research along with classes. But then once you finish that, you are king of your time. You have full flexibility on how you want to be, like, prioritizing your day. If you feel like nighttime is the most efficient time for you, you can like adjust your working and sleeping schedules to be most efficient and get the most out of Penn. But yeah, it's a learning process, and you just know that you are not alone in uh, managing this.
So if you recognize the faces, Denise and Srey are part of the new version of the We Are Pen video that we just played a few minutes ago. So if your memory is good, Shrey and Denise are part of that video. So, okay, this is for you, Noreen. Are you ready for my question? Which academic
Sure.
resources made the biggest difference for you when you were a student at Penn?
Um, Thank you so much, Dr. Rudy. For me, like there are different types of resources on I would say like many things is happening on campus in terms of helping us to proceed academically. But there are resources I got from my school, and also there are resources campus wide. So there are student success office in each of the school, engineering school, I'm sure, in school of education. So they keep arranging different sessions, like how to manage workload, how to success academically. So these are school-wise resources, and also the Penn libraries. We have like amazing library resource, Van Pelt. They keep arranging sessions on academic success and also on how to um, better manage our time. And I would say also Wayne Garden Center. So I also had the chance to work with them. They students can arrange individual session. There are learning specialists, and also there are accommodation specialists. And I'm sure ISSS also has many sessions, which like online session, offline session. So I think there are lots of resources. It's important that students know about those resources through email, like ISSS send email, Wayne Garden Center has some newsletters. So it's important that we know that these resources are available, and students can then definitely take those resources. Yeah.
That's very
For
good,
me,
Noreen.
it was really helpful to get individual sessions from Wayne Garden Center.
Wine Garden Learning. It's called Wine Garden Learning. I think Wine Garden Center, but as
Yes,
Noreen talked about, it's a learning resource center. I saw here
Learning
that you have to
Resource
leave
Center.
at 10:45, so I have to make out of my questions to you, Noreen.
Sure,
So you have to
sure.
work. You have to work. Okay, so Denise, engineering courses can be especially demanding. Are there resources or study habits that really work for you?
Yeah, so the academic rigor of even the intro classes are quite hard and on the high side level of learning. So it can get quite imitating and overwhelming at times, especially during the midterm and final seasons. And I did have quite a busy schedule for the both semesters. I was at Penn. Um, One advice I can give students to is that go to office hours. The professors are there to help you, and I really used the time during office hours to go over my learning, the parts I missed. Maybe I missed a class or two. So I usually try to build a one-on-one relationship with all my professors, and they do explain really well during office hours. I did not use Weingarten Center firsthand, so I do not have much information about that center, but all of my friends used it, so I heard that you can meet with a learning specialist and they basically create you a timeline for when to start for to study for an exam if you're having a bad time keeping track of all your exams. Um, to balance academic rigor, start early. Don't be a last minute person. Maybe that worked for you during your high school career. However, it's different. Don't leave things to the last minute.
Yeah, she was just a first year student last year, Denise, and you're speaking like a veteran now. Are you in Turkey now?
No, I'm actually traveling. I'm also in Europe.
In Europe, you're traveling in Europe. Okay. So, of course, Penn isn't just about academics, right? Some of the most meaningful experiences happen outside the classroom. So, Denise, you're still there. So, I'm asking you a question. Tell us about your involvement outside the classroom. What clubs, organizations, or activities have helped make Penn feel like home?
Yeah, so as Dr. Rudy mentioned before, I am a Penn World Scholar, which is a special program that approximately accepts 15 students each year. And through that program, I had the marvelous opportunity to attend an orientation program before Penn started. So it's called Penn Global Mosaic. And by attending that program, I built relationships that I still carry. I met my closest friends at Penn. I met the international community representatives in the class of 2029. So that was amazing. And apart from that, I'm also active in club swimming. So we attend competitions and also just seeing the competitions between the Ivy League universities as an international student and competing in those competitions was really an eye-opening experience and was an American experience for me. Other than that, I am also active in the Biomedical Engineering Society Club, which hosts many events throughout the year. If you're interested, feel free to reach out to me. By attending different activities, club events, social events, I found my community at Penn, and that's what matters at the end of the day, not your academic life, but also your social life.
Wonderful. Thank you. Ali, did joining organizations help you meet people outside your major? And what are those organizations?
Organizations, you said?
Yeah.
You mean like clubs?
Yep.
Yeah, so basically, just reflecting back to the question you initially asked, there's a important factor, at least it was important for me, and that was to find a home in the Penn community. And for me, home has two different roots. One is Iraq, basically, and the environment that I grew up in. And the second was the time when I was in boarding school. So I lived abroad for 2 years in Tanzania. So I was surrounded by a lot of international students. So for me, it was very important to find two major communities. One that was kind of like reminding me of home, that is Iraq. So I tried to join the Pan Arab Student Society, where the majority language spoken was Arabic, but I also found Kurdish community around the Philly area where they speak my mother tongue, and I was able to like engage with those people. And at the same time, I was also like engaging with Penwell scholars and Assembly of International Students, where I was reliving the international environment that I was during boarding school. So I would say those were like my main interactions with the clubs or groups of people that really made me feel the need of missing home or stuff like that.
And of course, you were a participant and a leader in this intercultural leadership program, which will be, we are, of all of you who is in this webinar, have received an email from our office, and we are opening a very competitive for 40 slots again for the intercultural leadership program, where you will meet not both international undergrads and grads, but also domestic undergraduate students and US graduate students. Very unique, almost 20 years old intercultural leadership program. So I'm putting a block, if you happen to receive that in your email now, please apply, because that will be one of the best experiences in your life. Ali was a participant and as well as a leader. So that's great. So that naturally leads to another question many incoming students are wondering about. So Ali, you're still here. So many incoming students wonder how to meet people, right? What advice would you give to someone looking to make friends and get involved during their first semester?
Yeah, so the first semester for me, I was kind of like hovering around quite a bit. I did not really stick with one group of people, and that was because I had one purpose in mind, and that was to meet as many people from different circles as possible so that I can like explore and see what circle fits me best. And I would say what really was nice about my experience was that I found that knowing and engaging with my floor mates and roommates was very helpful. I had like a community established with them. And since you'll be living with your roommate and you'll be seeing your floor mates a lot, it would be nice to feel close to them because you'll be back home at your room at the end of the day. And like after a long and tiring day, it will be fun to kind of like de-stress and like rest a bit. As for the other ways, engaging in your classes with the like students around you, that also helps you like kind of like meet people that are interested in similar aspects of your major and whatnot. And then the third would be the clubs that we mentioned. And the fourth, and I think it's also a very important one, is there are always events happening around campus and many different cultural events, non-cultural events, everything. So you should be looking out for these and maybe try to find events that kind of like reflect what you like or what you want to do, either professionally or just like culturally, and go to these events. Then you will see like people from similar backgrounds or interests, and then that will just like increase your like circle of people that you know even more. Then you can meet people with similar interests and like make friends, and it just carries on. And here you have like four different circles that you interact with: your floor mates, your classmates, people in those different events, and the clubs.
Thank you. Noreen, graduate students sometimes have a different experience. How did you build your community?
Um, this is first time actually I came to USA, so it was really overwhelming for the first semester. That's and I would say it was really helpful when I came to Penn, and different organizations in my schools, Penn GSC, also ISSS and Grad Center, many sessions were happening, like how to adjust with the Penn campus, what to do as a new student. Those were helpful. But at the same time, as we are student here, and so study is like our first responsibility. And I was also working as a graduate assistant with Wayne Garden Center. So working and also handling like 3 4 courses, so those were kind of challenges I was facing, and also coping up with a new environment, new campus. And it does seems like we have 1 year and 2 year, but the time is really very short. So as Shrey also said, and also Ali said, like it's very important that we manage our time. So we are taking care of ourselves. We are very far from our family here, and we are taking care of the grocery. We are taking care of everything, rent and everything. So at first it would be overwhelming, and that's why I decided that along with this academic work and everything, I do need to be in a community where I feel like I can talk other than data or other than anything. I don't have to talk about my courses. So that's why I joined. I thought like I would work with Penn GSC student government. So this is a very beautiful things about Penn. Like there are many student organizations. Also, there are units like ISSS where students can actively work as a student body, and an amazing space to have student voice. So that really helped me to have a community within Penn and connect with other students, other international students, other domestic students. And after first semester, it doesn't feel that difficult that I felt in the first semester. Yeah, thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Noreen. So the question now I would like to ask is for Denise, right?
Mhm.
The question here is more related to what Noreen is talking about. How did you transition well? What was your experience? Is it similar, completely different? How was it for you?
So for first year student, there's a week just dedicated to getting to know the campus. It's called the NSO week, New Student Orientation. And that week, to me, really helped me to navigate campus, find where my classes are, find people who will attend the same class and the same section as me, but also build friendships. So the NSO week was the main, I would say the main source of how I met people. I first met people on the campus. Other than that, yes, I totally agree with Noreen. They're amazing. There's an amazing variety of student organizations that each student can participate, attend, and there's also an event going on each corner of the campus. You can see a cultural or a social celebration on one end of the campus, and the other end, you can see a webinar, you can see a club meeting, you can see all sorts of things. So try to attend as many things as possible, even though they might not interest you at first. Just go, just give it a try, go out of your comfort zone,
Mhm.
because at least you will meet a new person, and that person might be a good contribution to your life at Penn. And through these activities, I found my people that I'm really grateful for.
See, as you can see, the themes said by the faculty are resonating with our students. Srey, What advice would you give to new students who may be nervous about finding their place, their presence at Penn?
I think that's like very normal feeling. Mainly, like especially if you're an introvert, it's very hard to like even pushing yourself to attend events might be a big discomfort. Uh, but one thing I learned at Penn is that you will find your group eventually. The diversity is so high that it is super likely that you'll find people who resonate with your own personality. And if like, yeah, like it might take some effort in in like trying out different things when you feel comfortable, but I feel that yes, Penn also has a good set of extrovert student community, which is always like attending events and doing stuff. But I do have some really good friends who are like who do not like who it for them it's very hard to just do all the events and going out that frequently, but they have eventually found their place. Um, I think like when it comes to finding your own presence, it is a learning moment because when you come to Penn in this like in the younger age where you are also on a journey of self-discovery where you don't know what what interests you, you don't know what type of community you really resonate with. So it's a trial and error. For me, I felt um that I currently am much more clearer about who I am, what are my values, and what type of community I flourish in, and what type of communities I want to support. And that was also a trial and error. I am currently like involved with ISAB, which is like I'm a graduate chair for this year, which gave me like a different set of like purpose in my Penn experience and like ways for me to advocate for students. I also am the president of the hiking club because I loved hiking and I wanted to share that experience with like other people. So it's more like a trial and error, but if you like something, just stick with it and like do more of it, and then gradually you'll find a place and people will know you for that. Like it will
Yeah.
happen eventually.
A lot of hiking experience there in Austria, right?
It's
When you go to
amazing.
the
It's
mountains. Yeah.
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Ali, was there someone, a professor, a roommate, or a friend who made a real difference during your transition? Tell us a quick story about that.
Yeah, I would say it was more of a like a student. We didn't have same major, we didn't have sharing classes, but we did meet during NSO, and he was also part of the Penn Scholars Program. But I think the NSO part was like important because we also met like two other people, and basically the four of us just formed a group, and we still communicate. We live nearby together right now, so they're still
Is
like
he still
dragging me all
here?
this time.
I'm thinking of the same person. Is he still around or he left? Penn.
He's still around.
Wow, the two of
Yeah,
you really, as friends and freshmen, you're both Penn Scholars,
yeah.
leaders. You're not roommates though, right? You're not roommates,
We
right?
actually are.
You are roommates too. Wow. You'll
Yeah,
be a best man in your weddings. This is amazing.
probably.
Amazing. Very
Yeah,
different worlds. Because this student, if I may say so, this student is from Sweden and
sure.
Ali's on the other side of the world from Iraq. So I know the stories of these guys, these students. So no, let me ask a question about housing. Noreen, I know you'll be leaving soon because of your work. Can you tell us about your housing experience? How was it for you? Because grad students have a very different experience finding housing.
Yeah, but I would say I was lucky. And I'm also only talking about graduate housing options because I have no
Yes.
idea about
Yeah.
undergrad
We have a lot of
housing
grad
options.
students in the webinar. That's why
Yeah.
yeah.
So, okay. My experience has been good overall. So I actually reach out to Penn off-campus housing. They have introduced me like through email. They have introduced me to some options, and then like I live very. I was actually looking for some options very close to campus so that I can just walk to library, walk to my schools. And there are like a lot of options, but there are also some risk and concern that if we talk to Penn off-campus housing people, they actually tell us like what to do and what not to do, and what are the legal concerns and what papers I should be really read through when I am signing a lease. So I really like how they were supportive when I was taking the off-campus housing. And also, I think as I was in Bangladesh. So I arranged house while I was there. So it wasn't possible to go in person and check the housing. So I actually reached out to one of my senior students, and she helped me. She checked the place for me, and it was really kind of her. So so that was helpful. I think if someone is coming in August, they should communicate early, like from June, July, they should start looking for house if they are sure like they are coming. And also um, talking to the roommate, if you are like you can stay alone and also you can like share rooms with other. So it's really important that you talk with your roommate beforehand, like what do you like and what they like. So that's really important, like to know each other likes, dislikes. Thank
Very
you.
good. So we have that's the graduate student perspective. Denise, and do you have a roommate, Denise, as a freshman?
Yes, so
And yeah,
undergraduate,
any advice for students living with a roommate for the first time, especially an
yes.
18-year-old, right?
Yes, so undergraduate students are required to live on campus for the first 2 years. I lived in Lauder College House during my first year, and I will live in Lauder again during my second year because I just loved it. So I shared my room. It's actually a suite style, so each person has their individual room, but the bathroom and the living room I shared among 4 people. So I had 3 roommates. I did random assignments, and I'm so glad that I did random assignment because a lot of people I remember a lot of people reached out to me on Instagram, but I just wanted to, keep going with the flow. So I had 3 American roommates. They were all from different parts of the US. And I think that just contributed to my Penn experience as I also um, got the taste of by being surrounded by domestic students. So I'm also rooming with them next year. Um, Louder living with roommates is hard, especially for example in college house you do not have in the individual rooms. You basically literally lay side by side. So that might have been harder for some students if they have been, for example, got their private place for such a long time. It's definitely a transition to the college experience, to the college life. What I would say is that be open-minded, but be also strict about whether you want to have quiet hours or you want to have like certain times when you don't want anyone or anybody's friend to walk into your assigned dorm. So I would say be flexible, but also be strict about certain kind of things that might irritate you in long term.
Thank you
Other
so
than
much.
that, yeah.
Other than that, I'm sorry. What did you say? Other than that?
Other than that, don't worry about it at all. It will work out
Okay.
eventually. There are
Okay.
also residential advisors called RAs that's there
Uh-huh.
to help you.
Great. Thank you, Denise. Let's go to career development. So, Srey, how have you approached internships, research opportunities, career planning while at Penn?
Um, I think this question is very different for a PhD student because for a PhD, I'll speak for PhDs and maybe like other masters and undergrad students can speak up because it's very different. Like I have some students, like some of my friends are in master's program, and like it might be the timeline looks different and the necessity for an internship is different. For PhDs, it depends a lot on your advisor. If the advisor is open, uh, or if the advisor is very supportive, and if this internship is like helping in your thesis, that's a very different position compared to you completely taking time off your PhD and doing something different and then coming back, which might like interfere with your PhD timeline. So first thing is to know what your advisor's take on this is. If your advisor is very supportive, then comes this whole journey where you like learn that this internship exists, or you're on LinkedIn, or you are at like Penn's Career Services, like have some events and where they invite potential employers on campus, or they have some webinar sessions. If you find a company or a research opportunity interesting, then you follow up with them. And then, yeah, the application process is pretty similar whether you are undergrad, grad. But I wanted to just say that it's very advisor specific. If you're a PhD student, do not expect that it's very normal for you to do an internship. Uh, yeah, so
Thank you.
it's not a
Thank you,
requirement.
Sabi. Thank you for putting a disclaimer. Yeah, PhD is very different. So maybe let's get the perspective of an undergrad or maybe a master's. So whoever, either Ali or Denise, how was internship? I know both of you are in different milestones in your academic journey. Ali just graduated, Denise is just starting, and Noreen graduated. How was your experience in internships, career planning, research opportunities? I think our students in the webinar will be so excited to hear how is it still going in America?
I can go for the grad students experience, master's student experience. So there are actually, it depends on what someone want to do. Like they are interested in programming or research or so. And there are actually options for anything you want to do here, but we have to really look out for the opportunities. For instance, me personally, I want to develop a career in data analysis and in education research sector. So when I was coming to Penn, I actually reach out to my school career service, like graduate school of education, like what are the options. They actually told me like where I can apply and what I can do when I'm at Penn. So that's how I actually got the graduate research assistantship with Wayne Garden Center. That was really helpful for me because uh, that was very relevant what I want to do, like STEM teaching, learning. So, and then so for the second year, and like there are many graduate research assistantship position. There is a separate website within Penn. I reach out to them and I applied for many positions and that's how I got the research position for in one of the research lab in Wharton. So these are some options we can try out within Penn. But at the same time, many organizations reach out to schools, reach out to Penn Career Service for fresh graduates. And so so we should reach out to career service. They have newsletters and also school newsletters. And sometimes it really helps to reach out to the faculty, whether they need some kind of they need some help with research assistantship or any type of position. And as I'm a student of graduate school of education, so there are many partnership of the GSC and different schools. So they actually ask for teachers to our school. So there are also many teaching position options that our school encourage us to apply for. So this is, I am telling just based on my experience. I'm sure there are engineering options and also someone from social science or anthropology and or maybe economics. They have different field to apply for. So plan early and reach out to people like that you want to work. These are your interests. Letting them know really help. And
Thank,
career service really helpful. Yes,
thank you
thank
so
you.
much, Noreen. Very extensive response to that. So either Ali or Denise, if you have some honest words of wisdom that you
I
can
can
add as an
I
undergrad.
can I can start, and I'm sure Ali has much more experience and expertise in terms of internships. This summer, I did Penn's PERM program, which stands for Penn Undergraduate Research Mentorship Program. I think doing research as an undergraduate student is much more available and affordable than a person thinks before coming to Penn. So throughout this program, I get matched with a faculty in my department, which is the bioengineering department, and then I worked with them in this 10-week program. I personally worked on CAR T cell therapy, and it's it just depends on one email. Just if you're interested in a lab, just email the professor. I'm sure that person is going to respond to you because professors are looking for students to take to lab. And I'm sure Ali has much more to add.
Ali, do you have anything to add or about internships, career opportunities?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So I have a few things to add. The first thing is career services. However, this one might become a bit more relevant as you like go through undergraduate, maybe after the second year or when you become more um, when you do classes more related to your work and you actually declare a major. So what you can do is you can have someone from career services to kind of like you go back to and meet every once in a while so that like they keep you updated with what's happening in the field and how to guide you. Second one is you can find some professors or advisors that are maybe in the field that you're also doing that can give you insights of also how the field is developing or what kind of opportunities usually the faculty usually looks for in undergraduate students. And another one, the third one is um, there's a Center for Undergraduate Research and Fellowship, or CURF, as it's also known as. They also have some seminars, webinars, or even walk-in appointments, I believe, where they can also talk to you about all the research opportunities available on campus and sometimes even off campus. Um, there is also GRIP for undergraduate students. I forgot what it stands for. It's very cool opportunity. Maybe after I finish talking,
Global
Denise
Research
can.
Internship Program.
Yeah, so that's also a cool one. And the fifth or the last one, and I think the most important one or the most relevant one is either finding recent alumni or upperclassmen that are doing what you tentatively want to do. So let's say you're doing bioengineering or you're doing some research work or you're in Wharton doing finance. You'll find some third year or fourth year student that have been also doing the same thing. Maybe they've been through some internships or maybe they've been doing some research. So go find them and ask them how they did it, the strategies they used. Was it cold emailing the way that I also did it for research, or was it applications like similar to the PhD cycles? So reach out, do that. Don't feel like shy or don't be embarrassed. It's for your own good.
Great advice from our students. So let's do a quick final question and then we'll open the floor to questions, okay, from our students. I would like to end with this final question. If you could go back, and Noreen already has left for her job, if you could go back and give yourself one piece of advice before arriving at Penn, what would it be? And I'll start with Ali. If you could go back and give yourself one piece of advice before arriving at Penn, what would it be?
I'll tell myself to take it easy, not to worry about all the like maybe academic stress or whatever is gonna wane out soon and it's all gonna be fine. Like your first year is gonna be tough. My first year was tough. A lot of international students, their first year is the toughest year. After that, you'll get used to it and it's gonna like cool down. So don't lose it during your first year. It's normal. Don't worry
It's
about it.
normal to get that C or B. So Denise, same question.
I will tell myself, don't be afraid to share your background story with everyone around you. Just share your story, tell your story, and hear from their perspective.
I like that too. Don't hold off. Share who you are so that people get to know you. Srey, I know if Noreen was here, she has a great story to do. But Srey, you will end as a PhD student. Go for it. Before arriving at Penn, what would your advice to yourself?
I would advise myself to not be afraid to ask questions or ask for help because I did not do that often. And then I learned it throughout my Penn experience that many things you do become so much easier when you just ask questions and people can direct you to the right resources. And it just is one way of being a very efficient Penn student. Just if you are in need of help or you have a question, ask like whoever you feel would have the answer. If not, they'll always redirect you. Like Penn community is very supportive, and I think if I did that more often, many of the like challenges I faced might have been reduced. I think, yeah, that would be my
Thank
advice.
you. So just don't worry. Be willing to share who you are and tell your stories. And of course, Ray said, what did you say, Ray? What is your one word?
Like ask questions or
Ask
ask for.
questions. Ask questions. Oh, I like those three. So, thank you all for sharing your stories so openly and honestly. I hope our incoming students and parents who heard something reassuring today, that every one of you had moments of uncertainty, but each of you found your own path, your own community, and your own success here at Penn. And while every student's journey is unique, whether PhD, undergrad, or grad, or master's, you don't have to do it alone. Penn is a community filled with people who want to help you succeed. And thank you again to our wonderful student panelists. But before that, is there a question in this chat room? Raise your hand, advisors or Penn ISS team. There's a question. Is there any that we can ask our students? None? None? Okay, no question. I saw there's a lot. So here is the thing here. Again, thank you again to Ali and to Denise and Shrey and of course Noreen who has to get out of her job just to join us. But I want to end with this video that I created last year, and this still resonates until now. So this is my affirmation video for all of you, incoming students and the parents. Go for it. Greetings from Penn's International Student and Scholar Services. I'm Dr. Rudy Altamirano, ISSS Executive Director. Since my arrival at Penn 19 years ago, I have made it as a personal tradition to send a message to all incoming and current international student and scholars. It is something that I never faltered on, and I'm excited to do this again this year. I came to the United States 42 years ago. My life and educational experience shape who I am, and it drives my commitment to support you with the same care and respect. On behalf of my office, I want you to know we see you, we hear you, and we are here to support you. Your presence at Penn matters deeply. You belong here. At Penn Global and International Student Scholar Services, we are here to walk with you every step of the way. Whether you have questions about your academic plans, immigration journey, or simply adjusting to life at Penn, we're committed to providing resources, guidance, and encouragement throughout. We may not always have the answer right away, but our promise is to stay in touch, keep you informed, and advocate on your behalf. You are not alone. We are proud to welcome you to our Penn community and excited for all that lies ahead. Thank you. Thank you so much. And for Ali and Shrey and Denise and Noreen, they know this is not a lip service. They know who I am as not just an executive director, as Dr. Rudy, as people call me here at Penn, that this is coming from the heart, from the bottom of my heart. As a former international student, I know the challenges. I know what is in store for being a student here at Penn. But we care for you. We're so excited that you're joining us on campus. Ali is still here. He's working at Penn. Noreen is still here. That's nice to see them. And of course, Denise will be back from Europe, and Shrey will be back from Vienna. So, Shrey, this is your opportunity to recruit for your ISAB membership. And of course, it's very so exciting because Penn Global Music is coming, the one that Denise is talking about, and also Intercultural Leadership Program, ILP. I encourage you to partake of that and all of the programs that we are providing and offering. With that, thank you again, Ali, Thank you, Denise. Thank you, Shrey. Thank you, Noreen. And of course, my colleagues, Marilena, Neve, Mara, Kelly, and Mike. And of course, all of you parents and students for joining us. I'll see you in August. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening, wonderful day, or wonderful morning. Thank you.